So I guess leveraging on what we just heard from several companies here tonight, there seems to be a gas shortage everywhere, and Southern Africa is just another one of those parties, or the countries, areas, regions that is running out of gas. Sasol has announced, and we've said this many times, that Sasol has announced it will run out of gas, supplying 145 petajoules of gas to the Johannesburg Praetorian market. So we're poised just across the border in Botswana. I know you all want to read that disclaimer. In Botswana, we've got 100% owned acreage play for coal bed methane, and we're very well poised and probably the best leverage position to get into the Southern African gas market. We've got other companies here today at the Good Oil Conference who are also in the area. There is so much gas demand. There's room for all of us to make a lot of gas supply into Southern Africa, and this excludes Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, all crying out for gas as well. So we're very focused on the industrial base there in Southern Africa right now. So what are we? We have a 2C resource, and we're very much focused on transferring that across to a reserve. We've drilled 11 wells in our acreage play. We've got 1 million acres of land in Botswana, 650 kilometres from Johannesburg. We've drilled 5% of our acreage, but in our 471 PJs of 2C, we've got enough gas to supply our agreement with Score Metal Group, who are now the biggest steel mill in Africa, for 146 years. So we've got enough gas to get our project up and running. We are still in the process of doing appraisal. We have been inundated with gas offtake agreements before we've even managed to finish our appraisal program. We've got close to 12 petajoules of gas agreements waiting on our doorstep. We've had to sit back, push that away, and say, look, we need to focus on the rocks. We've got an agreement, let us do our job. So our first target is Score Metals Group of South Africa, massive steel mill, employs several thousand people, consumes up to $70 million worth of gas a year. We have an agreement with them to supply them with 3.5 petajoules. It's roughly $37 million worth of gas every year. That's a 10-year contract with a 7-year extension. They've also come into the bankable feasibility study. They will do the logistics portion and their downstream regasification, while we look at how we're actually going to liquefy the gas. And how are we going to do that? Well, we've got to come back to phase one. Where are we at? We've drilled 11 wells. We've got a 5-well cluster called Pitsi, Project Pitsi. We've got 2 of those wells up and running. One is flowing gas, one is still in its dewatering phase, and we hope to bring the other 3 wells that we've already drilled and cased. We want to get them on by the end of the year. We'll drill another well, which we're going to stimulate as well, because we have we know from the government reports that Kalahari Energy to the north of us produced 120,000 standard cubic feet, or about 120 gigajoules per 20,000 gigajoules per day. These aren't barnstormers compared to Queensland. But let me just address something. It costs us $200,000 Aussie to drill, complete and bring a well online. We don't need barnstormers. We are doing very cheap and cheerful wells. These are vertical, open hole wells. We're starting from the bottom. We haven't even bothered with expensive drilling techniques yet. We can go to laterals. We could go to full stimulations. We're only just touching the surface because it costs. To have my drilling team out there, we own our own rigs, a drilling team, full operation, camp, staff, cooks, 800 Aussie dollars a day. So we have a very low cost base. And that allows us to start producing mediocre wells, if we got that, to even better wells as we start to improve and get more advanced with our drilling techniques. Right now, Serowe 3-1 is an open hole well, $200,000 to drill, complete, bring online. That's cheap. And actually the bulk of that cost was expats. So what are we going to do? We're going to expand that. We'll add on another 4 wells. We have an agreement that we're pulling together right now where a third party will come in and buy us a Galileo LNG plant, which is an off-the-shelf 40-foot container LNG plant. Just gives us a place to put the gas instead of flaring it. They will distribute the gas, and we have an off-taker ready to take that. So that's our game plan right now, is to take this 9-well cluster, prove it up, put it on a truck, sell it, proof of concept, make some revenue, and get into the ramp-up phase. We'll then expand. We're going to drill these in plots of 9-well clusters, and every time we do that, we aim to bring on another Galileo unit. But that allows us to start to produce gas regionally. So we have wells, for example, our Serowe 7 well is 26 kilometres away from Project Pitsy. We will need a different setup for that location. It has great coals. We haven't brought that online yet. So we'll expand, and eventually we'll get to our agreement with Score, which is to build a Chart LNG plant. So Chart have built hundreds of these around, or not hundreds, tens of these around the world, and they're a great LNG technology provider. This is Project Pitsy. As you can see, we've got 5 wells drilled. 3-1 on the bottom there is the one that has produced gas. We got unstable flow rates from this one, so we've had 42,000 standard cubic feet. We've had that various times. It is flowing right now. 3-4 was the well that we brought on 2 months ago, and that's still dewatering. 3-5, 3-2 and 3-3 have been drilled and cased. We haven't brought them on. We're going to drill another well in between 3-5 and 3-1, and we'll stimulate that well. So what do we need? What do the economics look like? We estimate we need about 76 gigajoules a day per well, so it's pretty low flow rates to make a good revenue stream out of this. 2.6 million thumbs up revenue stream from an initial project. That's a raising next year, free for us in terms of our cash flow projections that you would get. But right now, that's what we're looking at. That's the concept that would get us started and get us into some form of early stage production, giving us ramp up. Then that is the Galileo unit, by the way. There are 140 odd of these producing. They use them a lot in the US and in South America, where they're actually based. So then you build a few more of these, you generate a bit more cash, and you give yourself more ramp-up space for the gas field, because eventually, for a big project, you actually need hundreds of wells in coal bed methane, so you need somewhere for that gas to go as you start to dewater. Eventually, you get into a Chart LNG plant, and you're trucking 6 trucks a day. Now, you're looking at close to $137 million US for this sort of project. Where are we going to find the funding? So it comes back to two key partners that we have just completed our due diligence with. We have the Mineral Development Company of Botswana, MDCB. They have a 15% back-end right into the project. They've completed their due diligence, and we expect by the end of this month, next month, that we'll have concluded the term sheets and the funding structure behind that. They did a joint due diligence with another company, which we can't disclose at this stage, who are looking at the remaining 25%. So far we've had positive engagements. They've gone through the DD, and we're proceeding through to the next stage. So they will be our equity funders for these projects. But coming back to square one, we still need to continue with our appraisal program. We've been pushed very quickly by the off-takers. But it comes back to how well we have tried to de-risk this as much as possible. So right now, what are we waiting for? We just need a flow rate. We need the flow rates extended testing for 90 days. We've already got the production licence, the mining licence in place, government support. We have all the environmental approvals. We've got strong community support. We've got an off-taker. We have flowed wells. We have got a maiden resource. And we've already done all of our studies on the LNG technology and the concept. So what do we need to do next? Obviously, we've got to move to a reserve, so that's our 2P. We need to continue to do our well stimulation work and our well field flow testing. We need to finalise the securing of the Galileo LNG plant, finalise our bankable feasibility study, move into FID, start to build and get into production. So we use very, very simple drilling techniques at this point. It really is a water bore that's really deep, 550 metres, 500 to 550 metres. We case off the Intani aquifer, which is the good water aquifer, once we reach the basalt, and we continue down to the top of the coals, and we drill open hole through the three seams. So this is Serowe 3-1, and that's what we're producing right now. What makes us different to other plays that are in the area, we have three seams. The lower Marapuli is the seam that extends further to the south of us and outside of our region. The sweet spot for the Serowe seam, which is a bright vitrinite coal, we have a core sample on our desk. Come and have a look. You can see it's full of calcium cleats, which are flow pathways, which we've just done acid testing on, and we completed acid washes on both those wells. So the acid dissolves the calcium, increases the flow paths, and we're seeing a significant increase in the reservoir pressure that we're getting out of Serowe 3-1. So this is how we've started. We're now moving to fully casing and perforating, and we'll stimulate a well. We have all of our own gear. We were using the company to the north of us, Kalahari, and they got in a bit of trouble last year. They had $22 million worth of gear. It happened to be sitting on our land. We picked it up, refurbished it for $750,000. We own our rig, stimulation rig, with stimulation facilities. We've got the Bowsers, the trucks, everything, dozers, workover rig. So we can do everything that we need to do ourselves. It's very beneficial in coal bed methane, where you are actively drilling all the time. You're very, very frequently going into wells, putting in pumps, pulling out pumps, doing washes, etc. So our cost of production, our cost of development has significantly dropped again. 220 for this well was when we had contractors in. So our board and leadership group, lots of experience, particularly a lot of experience in Southern Africa. Botswana, if you don't know, I think I have a slide on it. Botswana is, as we call it, the Switzerland of Africa. It sits right in the middle of SADC, or the Southern African Development area, where we have neighbours such as South Africa, massive energy intensive country that is having all sorts of issues with Eskom, issues with Sasol, they're running out of water, and we're across the border sitting there in a nice jurisdiction, being able to explore and develop the gas. Gas was found in Botswana many, many years ago. Most of the guys, from Queensland, some of them came across to Botswana, and at the time Botswana was what we call landlocked, and effectively now it's a land-linked country because the demand is on its doorstep. Previously, LNG plants, much like Queensland, everything was shipped piped to the coastline and then sent off to Osaka. So where are we at? We're pretty cheap. We've got very few shares on issue. We have about, since this cash position, we raised 1.5. We have a very low cost of drilling, so we're actively back in the field right now. We'll be perforating the Serowe 3-3 well next month and getting that one into production. So Pure Hydrogen Group, which you'll see here on the share registry, Pure Hydrogen, I think they've changed their name just recently. So Pure Hydrogen was Strata X, which we did the farm-in deal with. So that was founded by Ron Prefontaine. Ron Prefontaine was one of the founders of Bow and Arrow Energy in the Queensland Basin. That's why we got into this project. A lot of similarities with what he saw there, very similar to the Walloon play. Kelabocha, that's my presentation. Thank you very much.